Hello, everyone, and welcome to Barrons. I'm Andy Serwer, and welcome to our guest, Greg Maffei, CEO of Liberty Media. Greg, nice to see you.
Thank you, Andy. Good to be here.
Why don't we start out by talking a little bit about the Liberty ecosystem, because there's a lot of different parts to it. So lay it out for us.
We're the successor to TCI, which was the largest cable company, the Comcast of the day, and we had bits and pieces of all sorts of media and technology and telecom investments, and we basically spent the last 30 years recycling some of that and moving around. And I'd say we have a couple of different buckets today, some around sports, with Formula One and the Atlanta Braves, and smaller pieces of the Nuggets and the Avalanche. We also have about an 82% interest in SiriusXM and a 33% interest in Live Nation Ticketmaster. Those are all inside of Liberty Media. And then we have a couple other companies I'm involved with and John is involved with, which we've spun away. We have a company called Liberty TripAdvisor, which controls TripAdvisor. We have a company called Liberty Broadband, which is the 26% holder in Charter, the second biggest cable system in the United States. And we have a company called Curate, which owns QVC, HSN, Zulily, and Cornerstone Brands. There are a little couple odds and ends, but that's the bulk of it.
You mentioned John. That's John Malone, who is the chairman of the company and sort of the founder, I guess, in a way, of putting all this together.
Yes.
Right? What is he doing? What's his role these days, Greg?
John is the chairman of Liberty Media, and he's the chairman of Liberty Broadband. He's on the board at Curate, and he's not on the board anymore at Liberty Trip. So I'm the chairman of Curate and Liberty Trip, and I'm the CEO of the others, and John's the chairman.
What was it like working with him and maybe learning from him as well?
It's been great. I mean, the junior partner and he the senior, we've been partners for 17 years, and I've known John since 1993. So it's been he's an amazingly agile mind, amazingly quick, amazingly flexible and thoughtful. So it's been a great experience working with him.
What was the conceit of buying these different properties initially, and what is the conceit in organizing them the way they are now, and what's the plan for the ecosystem going forward?
We were, as I said, the repository for TCI's many investments around TMT, technology, media, and telecom. And when TCI was sold in the late 90s and Liberty Media became an independent company in early 2000s, we were kind of a mishmash. And you heard the long list we have today. Believe me, it was a lot more complicated when we started with little bits and pieces. And we've really been trying to tax efficiently get out of those and focus into a few areas. I mentioned sports. Obviously, we've gone in and out of cable. We still like that business. We've tried to create more focused entities around, for example, video commerce and e-commerce and Curate. And I guess we've been we inherited some of these pieces, and we've invested more where we thought we could make a difference.
Let me ask you about sports, because that's kind of cool. The Atlanta Braves and Formula One. So Let's start with the Bravos. How are they doing? What's that like, owning that baseball team?
The Braves has been great. Forget the personal enjoyment of being down there when they won the World Series in Houston in 21. It's been a great investment. We traded some stock in Time Warner that we received from our investment in Turner that had then bought, Time Warner had bought it, and we traded our stock back to Time Warner for a stake in the Braves, for the 100% of the Braves rather, and cash back in May of 2007. And it's been a great run. The team there has done an unbelievable job, led by Terry McGurk. They have re-engineered the TV and media contract. We built Truist Stadium 4 and 5 years ago. We built the Battery, which is a development around it, which is really a model for what a lot of people want to do around their sports franchise. That's been a great mixed-use development. And importantly, the team has done incredibly well in the field. We won the National League East the last 5 years. We won the World Series in 21. I think we're leading the National League East early in 23. The National League East is a fierce division with a lot of money being spent by the Phillies and the Mets, and some money being spent by us, but I think we're pretty well positioned for good success again.
In Formula One, it's taken off in part by Drive to Survive. That has certainly helped your business. Did you guys have to invest in that Netflix production, or was it just came your way?
I can claim no credit other than I did help hire the guy, Sean Bratches, who had come from ESPN and ran the commercial side of the business at Formula One when we bought it in early 2007. And he probably, the expression success has many fathers. There are a lot of people involved, but probably Sean was really the one with the idea, really the one who took it to Netflix. And originally the teams were saying we should get paid more money for this product. And we were like, no, this is about the promotion value. And this is about what it's going to do for the sport. And it truly has opened it up. Now, there have been a lot of other things that opened it up as well. I mean, they had no social media when we started. We've really been the fastest growing property on social media, sports property over the last few years. They had no gaming presence. They had no video gaming presence to speak of, their focus. So a lot of those things have been pushed and really helped drive a younger audience. But there's no question Netflix helped.
What are some of the parts of the portfolio that have done well, and maybe some things, I think it's what TripAdvisor and QVC maybe could use a little more oomph at this point. What's going well and what needs some help?
I think things that are doing particularly well are around experiences and the high-end consumers. So Live Nation Ticketmaster with music events. The Braves had the highest capacity utilization of any stadium in baseball last year. We are among the most consistently profitable, and as I said, you've heard, good on-field performance helps attract an audience as well. They're doing great. Formula One is doing great. In the middle, I put companies which are a little bit where the economy is suffering, we're feeling it. And SiriusXM is really, some of their growth is dependent on new car sales, which are down. The SAR, the seasonal adjusted auto rate, has gone from something like 17 million to below 14 million. So that's hurt our new trials, that's hurt our growth. The ad market's a little weak. Business is fine, but the growth is more challenging. A little bit the same at Charter. The most important product for a cable company today is broadband. And our opportunity to sell and gain share largely arises from either new household formation or when people move. And with interest rates as high as they are and around mortgages compared to where they have been, where housing prices are, people are not moving. And I think the move rate was down 19% year over year in February and down 8% in March. Both of those hurt our ability to sell. Business is fine, but growth is more challenging. And then TripAdvisor is doing well, actually, much better because the growth in travel is sort of like the growth around some of these higher-end experiences. QVC is feeling the other side. During COVID, people bought a lot of products. They had a lot of capital, but they couldn't go out and experience. All the benefit that's going to the things I mentioned early, a little bit being hurt to retailers who sell a lot of home goods, things like that. We are challenged also by logistics, shipping over the last couple of years, expense bringing things from China and from other markets. And lastly, unfortunately, we had a very tough warehouse fire just over a year ago, tragically, in our biggest warehouse facility. And that has Rocky Mount, and that has caused not only a massive disruption to the business. So all of those have been a tsunami of challenges.
What's your thinking, Greg, on the media distribution landscape? You guys were big in sort of the traditional, which is, well, I guess cable's somewhat traditional at this point.
Yeah.
Where are we going beyond that, and how is Liberty playing?
We have mostly avoided the streaming wars. I think John and I have called it a first circular firing squad because the amount of capital that's being spent, when you have 600 new scripted shows, when you have $150 billion being spent on content, it's hard to see the returns being generated on that. We sold Stars several years back. We've largely avoided being in that space because I think it's difficult. We give a presentation at our investor day with themes, and one of them was why that was a tough business. Probably that was 5 or 6 years ago. Another one was why we thought the ear was better than the eye. There was more upside in audio than there was in video. So we've tried to stay away from that. That fragmentation is very tough, and you're seeing, big successful companies like Disney and Comcast pour a lot of capital in with uncertain future success. We'll see, but it's a big boy game, and that's taking a lot of capital, and we didn't think we were the right people to be in that part of the world.
You talk about how much you like your sports properties, Formula One and the Braves. Does that mean you could possibly go out and buy another property, maybe in another sport?
Well, I think we have two excellent properties, and we would be hard-pressed to find another, but we've looked. I don't think there's a major sports property that hasn't come talk to us. One of the benefits of the success of Formula One is that a lot of people said, what's the model? Can you do that for us? Is there a way we could have similar success? So we've thought about our lessons. We've thought about the things we can do. And we've looked hard, but we've yet to find something we want to execute on.
And final question, Greg, I want to ask you about the ways that you guys think you can optimize the fan experience, both in terms of Formula One and the Braves. Are there new avenues you can pursue in terms of digital, for instance?
Absolutely. Braves have been among the leaders, if not the leader in MLB, in creating a virtual stadium, in incorporating technology into the stadium experience, many innovative things that they have done to make the in-game experience great. Formula One is a great avenue for technology, and you can see that already in our F1 TV in some of the ways. You know, camera angles, we put a camera in every car. You can choose the angle you want to look at. You can, manipulate and compress the race if you only want to have a half-hour version or a shorter version and watch the highlights. There are just so many things you can work with, and the different angles, the different experiences. The digital experience in Formula One, few sports cry out as well, the perspective that it creates.
And just a quick follow-up on that, Greg. Is that sort of, complementary to personalization? How do you think about personalization then, just quickly?
Absolutely, because I think you'll move to a world where I, as a fan, can say, look, I'm a fan of Charles Leclerc, and I want to see how the race from his perspective. I'm a fan of Max Verstappen. I want to see it from his. All of those, the potential to experience that is great. In another vein, in the same way, you can go race on the same track as Charles Leclerc, or Lando Norris often does, and you can race him on a video game experience and see how you do on that track versus him. And you can decide which driver you like and how his performance was versus your performance. So lots of ways to customize and make it work for you. We got to get you on, Andy.
Yeah, I know. Lots of ways to play the game. Greg Maffei, CEO of Liberty Media, thank you so much for joining us.